And we'll start with DNA first, and we'll go to our friend Richard Dawkins, author of The God Delusion, the most popular atheist in the world today. Richard Dawkins was asked by Philip Johnson, the man who wrote the groundbreaking book about 20 years ago called Darwin on Trial. Johnson was an attorney at UCal Berkeley. He wasn't a biologist. But he pointed out that the problems with macroevolution are logical. They're not evidentiary. We look at the evidence for macroevolution, and then we have to make an interpretation. And he noticed that many of the philosophical assumptions and much of the reasoning processes that Darwinists were using to back up their theory were faulty. And so he wrote the book, saying this does not appear as it seems, because these basic interpretation errors are being made, and these basic reasoning errors are being made by the Darwinists. So he wrote Dawkins, and he said, hey, Dr. Dawkins, what's your best evidence for macroevolution? Just bottom line me, if you will. And here's what Dawkins wrote back. The reason we know for certain that we are all related, including bacteria, is the universality of the genetic code and other biochemical fundamentals. What's he basically saying? He's saying, look, man, we all have DNA. And you've heard the story before, right? Depending on how you look at DNA similarity is about 96% between apes and humans, although that's controversial now. But it's also about 90% between mice and humans. And the closer you get to humanity with apes or chimpanzees or primates, you appear to have DNA most similar to humanity. And this is supposed to show that we have a common ancestor. It's quite possible Dawkins is right. What does science tell us? Science tells us we have a common genetic code. What do we have to do as scientists? We have to take that data and interpret it and try and figure out what's the best explanation for why we have a common genetic code. Is one possibility we have a common ancestor? Yeah, Dawkins could be right. What's the other possibility he's not even thinking of? Anyone? We have a common creator. DNA similarity could be evidence of a common designer or creator rather than a common ancestor. Similar structures often have a similar blueprint. Why? I mean, what would the evidence have to look like at the DNA level for Dawkins to say, well, we're not ancestrally related? Would the DNA have to be 50%? Would it have to be 25% similar? I mean, it seems arbitrary to what he's saying here. We simply don't know. But you know what? Dawkins has already ruled out the only other possibility from natural causes. What's the other possibility for a natural cause? Is an intelligent cause, right? A non-natural cause. Again, this is a matter of interpreting the evidence. Do you know what? Similarity is not the problem for Darwinists. It seems to me that Darwinists must explain the vast dissimilarity between living things. The bee, the octopus, the Venus flytrap, mildew, the peacock, the porcupine, the human are all related according to Darwinists. How did we get this great diversity of life without intelligence? Where did this come from? I think you have to have more faith, interpreting the evidence as I look at it. You have to have more faith to believe that there's no intelligence behind all this. Do you know that you are supposed to be related to the mildew on your shower floor? According to Darwinism. Do you know, and this isn't often talked about because Darwinists have no real idea of how this could occur, but we're related to plants too. They never talk about plant evolution, but they think all life is the result of some natural process. I think you have to have more faith to believe that than just to believe there's intelligence out there.